Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Yevamot. We are up to Perek Bet Mishna Zayin. Today's Mishnayot should be Leilu Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Aranbayev, Neriyahu ben Burcha Israelov, Menuchatam beGan Eden, Amen. And Leavdil ben Chaim Lechaim, V'Refuah Shelemav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, B'Toch Shachulei Israel. The previous Mishnah discussed the case of one man who is uncertain which of two sisters he performed Kiddushin with. This Mishnah discusses a case where two men each betrothed one of the two sisters, but they do not know who betrothed which one. It begins with what these men must do. Shnayim shekitshu shtei achayot, if two unrelated men betrothed two sisters, ze eno yodeh ezo kiddush, and this one does not know which of the sisters he betrothed, v'ze eno yodeh ezo kiddush, and that one also does not know which he betrothed, ze noten shtei gitin, then this man must give 2 gitin, 1 to each woman, v'zenoten shnei gitin, and that other man must also give 2 gitin, 1 to each woman. Neither man may marry either woman, since she might actually be his wife's sister. Meaning, even after one man divorces both women, thereby ensuring that neither of them is his wife, the second man may still not marry either sister, since the one he now marries might be the sister of the one he betrothed. Both men therefore divorce both women to free them to marry others. The Mishnah addresses the laws of Yibum when both of these men died without children before giving a get. Metu, if the men died childless, Lazeach, and this man has only one brother, V'lazeach, and that other man also has only one brother, Zeh choletz ishtehem, then this man's brother performs chalitza with both sisters, V'zeh choletz ishtehem, and that man's brother performs chalitza with both sisters. For example, Reuven and Yosef each betrothed one of two sisters, Rachel and Leah, and died. Reuven and Yosef each have one brother. Both must give chalitza to both Rachel and Leah. Neither brother may perform Yibum because neither one knows which is the woman bound to him for Yibum and which is the one bound to the other one, and therefore is forbidden to him. Reuven's brother may not marry either Rachel or Leah, since either one of them might have been betrothed not to Reuven but to Yosef, so she has a zikah Yibum ban with his brother and may not marry anyone else. And similarly, Yosef's brother may not marry either widow, since whichever one he marries might have been betrothed not to Yosef but to Reuven, so she has a zikah with Reuven's brother. And even after one man's brother gives chalitza to both widows, the other man's brother may not perform Yibum with either one, since he might be marrying the sister of his zikukah, the woman bound to him for Yibum. For example, Reuven's brother gave chalitza to both Rachel and Leah. Since one of them was definitely his real Yevamot, the woman is now free to remarry. The other woman, though, still has a zikah with Yosef's brother. Yosef's brother may not perform Yibum with either woman because he still has a zikah with one woman, and the other is forbidden to him as her sister, the sister of his zikukah. Since he does not know which is which, he may not perform Yibum with her. He must perform chalitza. And Yosef's brother also may not give chalitza to one widow, for example Rachel, and then perform Yibum with Leah, because Rachel might have been his real Yevamot, which would make Leah forbidden to him as a sister of his chalutza. The art scroll elucidator brings a diagram to illustrate the Mishnah's laws, and it's very helpful, whoever can see it, or any other illustrated version of the Mishnayot, to visualize the cases. The Mishnah discusses a variation of the previous case. Lazeh echad v'lazeh shnayim. If this man has one brother and that man has two brothers, hayachid choletz ishtehem, the lone brother performs chalitza with both sisters, since he may not marry either one of them. V'ashnayim echad choletz v'echad me'abem, and of the two brothers of the other man, one first gives chalitza to one sister, and the other one may then perform yibum with the other sister. The woman the second brother is performing yibum with is now surely permitted to him. She is either his brother's widow, and he is performing yibum with her, or she is the other man's widow, in which case she already received chalitza from his brother and is not permitted to remarry. Reuven's lone brother gives chalitza to Rachel and Leah. Yosef's first brother gives chalitza to one of them, for example Rachel, and Yosef's second brother may now marry Leah. There's no problem of Leah being the sister of his zikukah Rachel, since the zikah was removed when Rachel received chalitza from Yosef's first brother. There is also no problem of Leah being the sister of his chalutza, because he did not give Rachel chalitza. Yosef's first brother did. And this, again, illustrated by the diagram and the art's elucidated notes. The next case is a continuation of the previous one. In this case, the two brothers of the second man did not consult the court about what to do, but one hand performed yibum with the two widows. Kadmu v'kansu, if after the lone brother performed chalitza with both sisters, the two brothers of the other man went ahead and each married one of the sisters without consulting the court. And motzin yadam, we do not take the sisters away from them, meaning we do not force the brothers to divorce them. Once each one has married a sister, neither man is married to a woman forbidden to him. Since it is possible that the first one to perform yibum actually married his brother's widow. If he did not, then the second one married her and ended the yibum bond, so her sister is no longer forbidden to the first brother. Now, continuing with the previous case, the Mishnah discusses another variation. Lazeshnaim ve'lazeshnaim. If this man has two brothers and that other man also has two brothers, the one brother of this man performs chalitza with one sister, and one brother of that man performs chalitza with the other sister. At this point, there are two possibilities. Either they each gave chalitza to their true Yevamot, their brother's widow, or they each gave chalitza to the wrong widow. If each one gave chalitza to his true widow, Yevamot, then each becomes forbidden to both women, one because she is chalutza, and the other because she is a sister of his chalutza. On the other hand, if they each gave chalitza to the wrong woman, then that woman is really the Yevamot of the other set of brothers who may perform yibum with her, again as the diagram illustrates. Right, so he says, sorry. We said, if this man has two brothers and that man also has two brothers, one brother of this man performs chalitza with one sister and one brother of that other man performs chalitza with the other sister. The brother of the first man who performs chalitza may not perform yibum with the chalutza of the other man, and the brother of the other man who performs chalitza may perform yibum with the chalutza of the first man. Each man performing yibum is either marrying his deceased brother's true widow or the other man's widow who was already freed by chalitza and is not permitted to remarry. Either way, he is permitted to marry her. It is only the brother who did not perform chalitza who may marry the other chalutza. The brother who did the chalitza may not, because she might be the sister of his chalutza, like we previously explained. The Mishnah now discusses what to do when they did not follow this procedure. Kadmu shnaim v'chaltzu, if two brothers of the same man went ahead and before consulting the court performed chalitza with both sisters, lo yabimu shnaim, then the two brothers of the other man may still not perform yibum, since one of them would be marrying the sister of his zikuka, the woman bound to him for yibum. Because when the two brothers of the first man both performed chalitza, they freed only one widow, since only one was their Yevamot. So one of the sisters is surely bound to the second set of brothers for yibum, and the other is the sister of their zikuka. Rather, even in this case, one brother must first perform chalitza with one of the sisters, and then one brother may then perform yibum with the other sister. If she is his brother's widow, he's properly performing yibum with her. If she is the other man's widow, then she already received chalitza from his brother, and she is not permitted to remarry anyone. Either way, she's permitted to this second brother. And the Mishnah discusses what happens if these last two brothers did not consult the court about what to do, but went ahead and performed yibum with the two widows. Kadmu v'kansu, if instead of one brother performing chalitza and the other performing yibum, the two brothers went ahead and each one married one of the sisters without consulting the court. En motzin yadam, we do not take the sisters away from them. We do not force the brothers to divorce them, since they are each now married to a woman permitted to them. And that is the end of Mishnah Zayin. Now, the previous Mishnah included some cases where a man should not marry a particular woman but does not need to divorce her if he does. Mishnah Chet, Mishnah 8 discusses other cases with the same law. Mitzvah begadol yabem. It is proper for the oldest brother of the deceased to perform the yibum, and he will then inherit the deceased brother's property. V'im kadam katan, but if the younger one went ahead of the older one and performed the yibum, zacha, he gained the right to inherit the deceased brother's property since his yibum was valid. The Torah states in Sefer Dvarim, chapter 25, verses 5 and 6, her brother-in-law shall come to her and take her to himself as a wife and perform yibum, and it shall be the firstborn, and it goes on. The sages teach that the proper understanding of the verse is that the firstborn brother should be the one to perform the yibum. On the other hand, the Gemara in Yevamot, page 24a, derives from the phrase Ki yeshvu achim yachdav umet echad mehem, when brothers dwell together and one of them dies, that all the brothers are eligible to perform yibum. So the Torah means that the firstborn or any older brother should be the one to perform the yibum, but if a younger brother performed it, it is valid. Another case, if someone is suspected of having cohabited with the Canaanite maidservant and she was later freed, or having cohabited with a non-Jewess and she later converted, this person should not marry the freed maidservant or the convert, since people will say that the original suspicion was true. A person should not do things that will cause rumors that he committed a sin, as the pasuk says in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 24, remove from yourself twisting of the mouth and distortion of the lips, distance from yourself. V'im kanas en motzin miado, but if he did marry her, we do not take her away from him, we do not force him to divorce her since she is technically permitted to him. This is true even if it was proven that he had actually cohabited with the woman before she was freed or converted, because cohabiting with the maidservant or non-Jewish, although forbidden, does not cause her to become permanently forbidden to that man. Hanitan al eshet ish, in contrast, if someone is suspected of cohabiting with a different man's wife, and as a result the court took her away from her husband, meaning they forced him to divorce her, because the court forces a man to divorce his wife when witnesses come forward who saw the adultery or testified to having seen strong circumstantial evidence that adultery was committed. We call them edei ki'ur, witnesses to an ugly act. So if someone is suspected of cohabiting with a different man's wife, and as a result the court took her away from her husband, meaning they forced him to divorce her, since one may not stay married to a wife who committed adultery, as we'll see Bli Neder, Mishnah Tzotah, chapter 5, Mishnah 1, Aval Pishakanas, then even if the suspect married her afterwards, you'll see he must divorce her, since she has become biblically forbidden to him. In any situation where the court forces a man to divorce his wife due to adultery, she's also forbidden by biblical law to the adulterer. Now the Rav does tell us, V'dafka nitan al eshet ish, this is only by one who was suspected of being with a married woman. Aval nitan al pnuya, if someone is suspected of being with a single woman, nired de mitzvah lichnos, it appears that as a mitzvah to marry her, k'dashkan gabe ones, like we find by chas v'shalom, a person that raped a woman in Dvarim chapter 22, v'lo tiyeh leisha, that he should, that one of the requirements is that he now has to marry her. And that is an abotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen v'amen.